Art. I have a crazy new hairstyle thanks to my amazing hairdresser. And look at the shirt that I've got on today. Bloomer, Shellee Art. I got this at the Shellee Art Live Brisbane experience 2 weeks ago. So very excited to be showing it off today on today's video. So I am here today. When I was at the Shellee Art Live, I was privileged enough to do the Shellee Art Live beach swipe class. And it taught me so much about swiping and beach swiping. So this video today is my first beach swipes that I've done since the Shellee Art Live. So I'm very excited to be sharing this creation with you. But before we move on to the video, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners on the land that I create. The Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and any elders emerging. It is always my privilege to be able to create on the land that they once owned. So let's get into it. Let's have a look at the beautiful clock. It's a clock that I'm doing today, and we will have a look at how I've done it. So let's get the show on the road. So on with the show. So I have my Lazy Susan here with my Fluid Art Co non-slip mat. I have my square board that I'm using. It's 36 centimeters squared. You'll see where the mechanism goes for the clock, the little hole in the center. I've actually thrown some blue tack in there because I do not want my design falling through the hole where the mechanism goes. So I always throw a bit of blue tack in just to seal that so that my design stays on my board and I don't lose any cells or anything down the hole. So we're starting off by throwing down our base paint or pillow paint, depending on where you are and what you call it. This is just a white house paint that we get from our local hardware store here in Australia. It's a British Paints. I'm just going to speed this up because you don't need to watch me sorting this out. The one thing that I did learn at the Brisbane Live course with Shellee was I've still got to perfect the amount of pillow paint that I'm putting down for my swipes. You don't need to use a huge amount, but if you use too much, what I've discovered is as you're tilting and you're spinning, if you put too much pillow paint down, as your design moves with that, you lose a lot of your design over the edges. So it's certainly something I'm going to have to perfect in with all the practicing that I will keep doing. So we're just thinning it out now, making sure that it's nice and even. I'm not worried about taking it to the edges because I know that when I tilt and spin later, that will occur. I did scrape some off because I think I had realized that it was a little bit too thick, because what you've got to remember, unlike a bloom, when you're swiping, you're adding more paint and you don't want to lose it. So we're pretty much coming to the last part of throwing down my pillow paint now, and we're going to get started on the colors. So with this particular beach swipe, I am attempting to do a sunset as well. So I will list all the colors that I have used for this beach swipe in the description of the video, so that if you want to try and replicate it, you absolutely can. I'm pretty much sticking with the colors that we used at the Shellee Art Live in Brisbane, but I have added some extra yellow, orange and magenta colors in and some purple in for the sunset side of it. So this is where we start. This is a Diox Purple, if I remember rightly. I did record this about a month ago, or maybe even a bit longer than a month ago. It's just taken that long to let the paint cure before I can resin and then show you the final piece. So I will be trying to guesswork the colors because I do not actually have them currently listed in front of me right now, but I 100% know that this is a Diox Purple. So I'm applying about 1 centimeter, maybe a little bit over 1 centimeter thickness in a line. Doesn't have to be even. Now this is a Quindacrone Magenta. It's one of my favorite magentas, the Quindacrone, if I'm pronouncing it right. Quindacrone Magenta. It's just a really beautiful deep magenta. So I'm adding that next into my sunset swipe. And again, it's about just maybe under 1 centimeter thick. Again, there's no rules in regards to how thick you want your lines to be, because you can manipulate it as you do your swiping and as you do your tilting and your spinning. So now this is a TLP.
I can't remember which pigment it is. I will definitely have to go back and have a look on the container and try and work out what it is. But it is this little piggy pigment. And I've only just put a little couple of squiggles on. And then we're going into a custom yellow that I have made. It's not a standard yellow. It's a bit darker. So I've mixed it with, I think I've mixed a couple of yellows together because I didn't want it to be bright. I didn't want it to be orange, but I kind of wanted it to be in between. So this is that. And again, it's not a massive, big, thick line. What I've also got to remember is I've also got to add my beach in. I've got to add my water and I've got to add my beach. So it all has to fit in this space, which is, again, an important thing to consider when you're applying that pillow, because the more paint you have, the more paint you're going to lose off your design. And that, as I said, is something that I am continually learning. And then I've got a custom orange. Again, this is a mixture of an orange and I think maybe a red and I think a bit of yellow. And I'm actually wishing that I had changed the orange and the yellow around. I feel like the orange should have gone up against the pink and the magenta, and the yellow should be down more. But I think the reason why I separated this is because I didn't want to, when I was adding my blues in for the water, for it to turn green when you add the blue and the yellow. Now this is a deep green, a deep sea green, I think it is, or is it a phthalo green? Or a combination of them both. As I said, I'm guessworking on my colours right now. But I will certainly, as I said, get back to you on the colours that I have used in this particular video. And again, it's a little bit of a thicker line than the orange sunset. This is the start of my water. So this is the deep sea water that we've got here. And then we're going with a bit of a lighter blue. I think this is a phthalo blue. Gosh, I'm so bad at these videos. What I really need to start doing when I'm recording these videos is actually have the colours listed in front of me next to me so that I can list them off very easily and very clearly for you all. But as I say, I will put them in the video description. No issues there at all. So I'm pretty sure that's a phthalo blue. And then we're going with a custom-y teal turquoisey colour. So as we're moving closer to the beach, we're getting to our lighter colours. So this is, it might even be a Colbolt Teal. But it's like you can start to see how this is going to work and how this is going to look. Next is a mermaid. I'm pretty sure this is TLP Mermaid. If I remember rightly, I say that a lot, don't I? Yep, so this is a TLP Mermaid. It's got this most beautiful shimmer. And what I like to do, and I'm pretty sure Shellee might be similar, is I like to use a mix of pigments and paints. I don't want the whole design to be shimmering. So I like to use, and I do this all the time with my blooms as well. I don't use a shimmer in every single thing that I do, so it spaces it out. This is this little piggy Abalone. Oh, she's beautiful. I fell in love with Abalone at the Brisbane Live, and I've used her a lot since then. The amazing thing that I love about Abalone, which is perfect for adding it between the water and the beach, is because she has this beautiful gold shift in it and this beautiful gold sparkle, which you can't see now, but you can see when it's dried, and it just looks amazing under the resin. And now we're getting onto the beach. This is a custom-y brown burnt umbery, or it might actually even be a combination of burnt umber and this little piggy harvest gold, if I remember rightly. And again, it's not a massively thick line. We are just getting to the start of the sand. With the sand, you can apply it in any way you like. This is just the way that I think I did it at Brisbane, but I can't remember. And now we're using, I think, TLP Ore. Ore is the way that we were saying it in Brisbane. Or Harvest Gold. No, I'm pretty sure it's TLP Ore. No, that's Harvest Gold. Oh my goodness. So this little piggy Harvest Gold is a gorgeous beachy, sandy, goldy colour. So we're just adding about 1.5 centimetres of that. And then if I remember rightly, we finish it up with TLP Ore. Ore, O-R-E. depending on where you're from and the language you speak and the accent that you use. But yeah, this is definitely a TLP ore. So you can only just see where I'm applying it because it is a very light colored, goldy, sandy pigment, like almost similar to latte, but it's got a lot more gold to it than the TLP latte does. And I think we're good. Yep. So now what we're going to do is I'm just tilting it a little bit just to get it towards the edges and work out where my colors are going to flow, so I can get a bit of an idea of where I want to swipe. So I've got my swiping tool. So the tools that I'm using today are from Fluid Art Co. The palette knife that I've got in my hand now, I can't remember what number it is, but I'll post it in the description. I'm just applying some white cell activator on the tool, and I'm just now going to swipe the beach area first. So we go across and we bring it back. Don't need to have, and this is another thing that took me a while to learn. I used to always swipe one way and then re-swipe the next way and then like individual new swipes. What I learnt at Brisbane was just do one swipe and bring it back. You don't need to have cells all through your beach. And I feel like that's actually a really important thing to take on board, is it doesn't have to be full of cells, and you can add more cells once you've done everything. You can add a little bit of cell here and a little bit of cell there, or you can scoop and drag some across to fill the area. Like I've got that big blue area there that we've dragged back. So sometimes it is about playing around a little bit with it and manipulating your design until you get it to where you want. But you can see we've got some beautiful cells happening there and across. I haven't done the top yet. I can't remember whether we're doing the top next or the beach. I've got a feeling I'm going with the beach and I'm doing the top at the end. Yeah. So I've got a smaller swipe tool here. Oh no, we're just going to try and create some cells towards the beach just to fill that little gap. And as you can see, when I start to swipe, I end up with this big blob of cell activator, which we're now just dragging back to just fix up that big blob of white cell activator that I left on the canvas. So again, we're just playing around. We're just scooping here and there, swiping here and there. I'm now going to do the next lot of beaching. So I think now we go down and we swipe the beach. Because I think, no, I didn't, did I? No, I think we do the beach next. Oh, well, it's going to be a surprise. Wherever I swipe next, it's going to be a surprise. Let's guess. No, it is the beach. So we're just running it over and we're going to turn around and, oh, we're not dragging it back. Why am I not dragging it back? I should be dragging it back. See, this is the problem. I can't remember what I do, so I'm improvising. But that's okay. So we've now done the beach. I've got a big blob of white cell activator again down the end. So I'm just going to pick up my tool and I'm just going to drag it back just to create some of those cells and get rid of that big blob of white paint. So we're just dragging it back over to the other side. And then that's pretty much the beach side of things done. And then we're going to move into manipulating some parts to where we like. So again, we're just dragging over that last little white cell. You don't want your full beach to be full of white cells because that just takes away from the beautiful beach that you've just popped down. And now we need to do the top. So sometimes with the sunsets, I will use a phthalo blue or a Prussian blue, more a Prussian blue cell activator just to give it a dark look. But I think for this one, we've actually gone white. I've just kept white cell activator for the whole thing. Or sometimes you can even use a white and Prussian blue cell activator. So you've got a mix of the two together. But for this, we're going across with the white. I don't know why I wasn't dragging it all back, but that's okay. So you'll see on the bottom where I started my swipe, we've got all of that white cell activator just hanging out there. So it's a lot there that I don't want. I don't want massive cells. So as you see there, I've just re-swiped over it to just take some of that cell activator off and help us to create some more cells. So you can see now she's actually starting to look a bit more beachy and not just a whole bunch of lined colours left on a canvas just drizzled. So now what we do is we play around with it a little bit. We just add some smaller cells to create waves. We will drag some cells around the place so that it'll all not uniformed, and we just keep playing with it until we're happy with the design that we've got. So we're just finishing the sunset now, and as you can see, I really like the sunset. I do lose a fair bit of it in the final design with all the spinning and the tilting and the toing and froing, but in the end she does look pretty. I'm pretty happy with this. So what you'll see now is there's that big blue chunk of dark phthalo blue swiped right through the middle. So we will play around with this a little bit just to space that out. We're going to give it some gentle spins. Do not be aggressive with your spinning because, as I said, you will lose your design. So it's just gentle. Give them a couple of rotations. I like to just spin gently for these beach swipes because, as I said at the start, you go too hard, you go too aggressive, you'll lose it. So we're now just tilting. You'll see I've still got a fair bit of board that I need to cover. So I'm just going to slowly tilt my paint down into those areas that we're missing. What you have to remember when you're tilting, obviously your whole design moves. So you've got to be prepared that you'll probably lose some of your base and some of your top is going to come down. So sometimes I will always tilt until I get my paint over the corner, and then I will tilt back to try and encourage some of that design to flow back, and so that I don't have one whole area that's taken over. I probably could have used a little bit more paint in the colours just to help them flow a bit more, or I probably actually could have thinned out my consistency on these a little bit, but I think I was just so excited to put what I learned in Brisbane into practice that I just didn't get my consistencies right. But as you can see, it hasn't affected the design, but it has affected the flow. So I'm now just scooping up some of that extra that's fallen off and popping it into those corner areas so that we're not dragging the top down, because you'll see where I've dragged the top down now, where all that purple is, I've now got bits of white pillow shining through. And again, I don't need that because that's my sunset. So I'm going to have to tilt that back to get the purple back down so that I've just got purple on the top, because unless it's a cloudy sunset, which is not what I'm trying to achieve now, we just play around. So I'm just making sure that I've got enough paint on my corner beach so that when I do tilt back down towards the purple, I'm not going to end up back with wood shining through. So we've done that now. So now we're hopefully just going to tilt and get that purple, which will also then give us a little bit more beach. Excuse me. So we're just hoping that purple is going to flow down. If it doesn't, then what you can do is you can add some more purple or all the colour that you want onto a swiping tool with a little bit of cell activator, and you can run that over that top area, and that will certainly help fix up those areas that you're missing. Or you can scoop and drag. So basically a scoop and drag is you just slide your swiping tool underneath your paint and you just gently scoop and drag it back. So depending on what you're trying to achieve. So there's a few options that are available here. I can't remember off the top of my head what I actually did. Or what I sometimes will also do is any of that paint that's fallen off to the side with my spinning, I will pick that up and I will pop that over that little area and then give it a spin, and that will certainly help. So we're getting there. You start to see now it's starting to look really cool. I still think I do some stuff with that really deep dark blue line. I'm pretty sure we're going to swipe some of the teal and the turquoise through. I think what we're going to do now is just attack some of that bottom area here. Yeah, perfect. So we're just going to swipe some of this area here just to soften it up so that it's not so harsh blue, half turquoise, half teal kind of area. We want to break that up a little bit. But as I said, I don't want it full of cells. So I think having the mix of the colours just gives it a really lovely look. And same with the horizon. I don't need a straight horizon. I like my horizons to be a little bit wonky and changed. But so we're just going to play around again a little bit now and scoop and drag, manipulate the design until we've got something that we feel we're happy with, that we've got flowing a little bit more, and fitting more with what we've got in our head that we really want. So this is sort of like heading towards the end part now, where we're just doing some finer little swipes and drags, manipulating the system, so that we end up with an absolutely stunning, beautiful beach clock. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's given you some confidence to go and have a go. But I think, as you can see now, it's just starting to look like a really beautiful beach scene, and is going to look absolutely stunning as a clock, which we will put a photo up of the finished product straight after this video is done, so you can see what she looks like all finished. So a couple of final spins now just to get that excess paint off. And then we've got our finished design. So here we are with the final finished piece. I've put my numbers on. It's been resined. I've put my numbers on, and it's got my beautiful gold clock mechanism in place. So I think this is going to look absolutely stunning on anybody's wall, whether it's in a beach house or a bedroom or a bathroom. It's just a beautiful piece of work. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you some confidence to go out and have a go. Please, like with all my videos, like, subscribe, ask me any questions, and I will always respond to them. And most of all, just get out there and have a go. Just, if it's out of your comfort zone, just do it and keep practicing. The more beach swipes I've done more now on cheese boards and things. I'm getting so much more confidence in actually making the design flow and getting my swiping consistency right. So happy painting, and until next time, have a great week.